Shalom, 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 Yasha'Allah. This your boy, Brother Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called Babylon Needs a Refund. Babylon needs a refund. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right. And the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. All right. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone, who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. And mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom, all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. All right, like I said, today's lesson, Babylon needs a refund. All right, and I did a lesson about this a while ago. I know when he first came into office, he was talking about, an Iron Dome or something to that effect, right? But this is from Politico. It says Trump unveils 175 billion 3-year price tag for Golden Dome. Okay. It says President Nero speaks in the Oval Office on May 20, 2025 about his Golden Dome missile defense system plan. All right. So the reason I said Babylon needs a refund, because we know, hey, it's not going to work. Okay. It's not going to work. All right. But let's read a little bit of this article. So it says President Nero announced $175 billion 3-year plan on Tuesday to build a massive new missile defense system, offering some of the most concrete details yet about his vision to protect the country. It said it will be capable of intercepting missiles launched from the other side of the world, he said, in an Oval Office announcement with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. It says even if they're launched from space, Trump offered few additional details about the project dubbed Golden Dome. Politico reported earlier Tuesday about the planned announcement and the first tranche of funding, $25 billion from Trump's tax and spending mega bill currently winding its way through Congress. It says the president signed an executive order in January that initiated the defense system. He called for a multi-layered homeland defense program that would stitch together existing Pentagon programs as well as new developmental technologies such as space-based sensors and weapons. It says Nero and the head of the Space Force, General Chance Saltzman, have suggested much of the work would involve building a software backbone to link current systems with new ones that track and potentially shoot down ballistic and cruise missiles. But the Congressional Budget Office has estimated the U.S. would need to spend more than $500 billion over 2 decades to develop a truly comprehensive missile defense system shield. So Nero's 3-year window is an ambitious one. It says to fulfill the guideposts laid out by the president, Congress would need to come up with $150 billion more over the next 2 years, Salakia, and the administration would have to determine how to quickly spend that large sum. It says Nero, during the announcement, named General Michael Gutian, the Space Force Vice Chief of Space Operations, to lead the project. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational by the end of my term, Nero said. Okay. And, there's a couple things here. So, yeah, when he first got into office, he talked about building a defense system, and they were saying that it was going to take, you know, roughly around 10 years or so to basically to make something that is more in line with the one that they have in Israel, especially for how big, Babylon is. Okay. But now also too, they had the Space Force, they had that plane or the spaceship that they had, came from a mysterious operation, which they didn't say what was going on, So we know how Esau does, okay? Esau is trying to, this stuff has been in play for a while, all right? But this defense system, this Golden Dome, Babylon needs a refund, right? And why? We'll go to it, right? We'll go to it right now. Salakia. Let's go to let's go here, right? Because ultimately, Yahawashi is coming up against Babylon, right? And there's nothing you can do about that. All right. This is 2 Esdras chapter 16 and verse number 13. It says, "For strong is the right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and he shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." Right? 2 Esdras 16:13. Verse 14, it says, "Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they have come upon the earth." Right? Those missiles, right? Because they're going to be shot into those ICBM missiles are going to be shot into the atmosphere. Okay. And then from the atmosphere, they're going to be coming down onto their targets. Okay. With massive speed. Okay. It says, "The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth." Okay, because there's going to be so many nuclear warheads that's going to hit Babylon, all right, that this place is going to be on fire for a long time. Okay, John the Revelator, when he saw that lake of fire, he saw Babylon basically on fire. Through what? Through those nukes. Okay, and Yahawashi and the angels, right, and their chariots or their spaceships, bringing destruction upon this place. Okay, but ultimately those arrows that are going to be shot, from the other nations, starting with Gog, right, which is Russia, right, and their allies, right, Iran and China and these other nations. Okay. Verse 16, it says, "Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues shall that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again." Okay, so ultimately, this is Yahawashi judging this place. Okay, so there's nothing you can do, right? So you might as well get your money back, man. Get a refund, right? Because it's not going to work. All right. Matter of fact, let's go to Isaiah 55 and verse number 11. It says, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it." Okay. And what did Yahawashi send? Let's get it. Let's go to Jeremiah. Right, Jeremiah chapter 50. And let's go to verse number 9. Right, Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 9, it says, "For lo, I will rise up and cause to come up against Babylon," right? America, aka Babylon, right? Sodom and Egypt, right? Modern day Egypt, Mystery battle Babylon, daughter of Babylon, daughter of the Chaldeans, right? It says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence shall she be taken. Their arrows shall be as of mighty expert men. None shall return in vain. Okay, so basically, your defense system that you're planning on doing is not going to work. Okay, it's not going to work. All right, it's because the Yahawah Shai has spoken it. All right, and when those arrows, which are those ICBM missiles, get shot, they're not going to miss their mark. All right, and they're not going to return in vain, like the scripture says. All right, we jump down to verse number 14. Right, it says, I started verse 13. It says, because of the wrath of Yahawah Bahasham Shai, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Okay, and those missiles, right, are like plagues too, right? When you read the book of Zechariah 14 and 12, it tells you, you know, when those missiles impact, what it's going to do to the people, right? It says their flesh shall be consumed while they stand upon their feet. Their eyes shall consume away out of their sockets. Their tongue shall consume away out of their mouth. Okay, you know, the fire, it likes the moisture in the air, and it's going to basically be melting people's, you know, whole bodies out while they're standing alive, right? Just like Terminator 2. All right. Verse number 14, it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. Okay, and right now, you know, there's many nations that have these ICBMs. Okay, with the nuclear warhead capabilities. Okay, and now, you know, you might have a country that might only have a couple, you know, maybe 15, 20. Then you have Russia, who has the large amount, you know, besides Babylon. All right, you have China making theirs. Okay, so, you know, these nations have these ICBM missiles. Okay, that's why they say, you know, the weak say I'm strong. But it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against Yahawah Bahasham Shai. Okay. Let's get one more out of here. Let's go to verse number 23. It says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Right? Because, you know, America has been the big bad bully, you know, going around, you know, putting their foot in everybody's business and doing this different stuff, you know. It says, how is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, right? Yahawah Bahasham Shai set a snare for Babylon. Okay. It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahawah Bahasham Shai. It says, Yahawah Bahasham Shai have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. And, Salakia, for this is the work of Yahawah Bahasham Shai, the Most High Power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Okay? The Lord has opened up his armory, all right? And he's going to bring, you know, all the fear. Remember, Yahawah Bahasham Shai created the waster in Isaiah 54 and 16, okay? He created, you know, the scientists who created these weapons, these nuclear weapons, okay, that are meant for mass, you know, deletions, okay? And guess what? He's going to open his armory and he's going to put it in the spirit, you know, of these other nations to utilize this weapon, okay? And the waster is what? The waster is to destroy, okay? It says, verse number 26, come against her from the uttermost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing be left of her. Okay? So Babylon is not, your golden dome. It is not going to work. Okay? Because it's already been prophesied. All right? Thousands of years ago. Right? Judgment on Babylon says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. It says, take millstone and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. And I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Okay, so Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi has set up a snare, a trap for Babylon, right? Babylon was, prideful, and it's saying when you go to Revelation, right? And we brought this out yesterday, right? Revelation 18 and let's see. Let's go to verse number 7. It says, how much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Okay? Why? Because I have this golden dome defense mechanism system that I'm setting up, right? Where I will not be touched. Okay? That's the pride, okay, of this place. Of this place. It says, therefore, shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, who judgeth her. Okay. Verse number 10, it says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Right? So imagine that. You put, billions of dollars into a system, that you think is going to keep you safe, and it gets utterly destroyed in 1 hour. 1 hour, this place is going to be completely, utterly destroyed. All right? But their thought is that they sit a queen and they shall see no sorrow. All right. But when we go to Obadiah, right, verse number 2, it says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised, right? Esau, okay? And this, Babylon is his golden cup, his strength, for the army and the different things, right? And this place is going down, okay? It says, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? How you going to bring me down to the ground, right? I got a golden dome. I got a system, that's going to eliminate any threats here on our land, okay? No one's going to be able to stop me. It says, who shall bring me to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself, Salakia, as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Okay, so ultimately, guess what? It's not going to work. Okay, let's go to the book of Ezekiel, right? Ezekiel chapter 7, verse number 19. And it reads, it says, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. Okay? Your money, your billions of dollars that you set up, it's a waste, right? You might as well go get a refund because it's not going to work. All right? What is that? Proverbs. Let's get that real quick. Proverbs chapter 11 and verse number 4. It says, riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. It says, the righteous of the perfect shall direct his way, but the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. Okay? And Esau, they've created these weapons, all right? And ultimately, Salaki, it's going to fall on their own selves, okay? And Yahawah Bahasham set that trap for him, and boom, it's checkmate, okay? Let's get this one, and we'll probably close it up. Let's go to the book of Zephaniah, right? 1, and let's go to verse number 17. It says, now will bring distress upon men, and they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Yahawah Bahasham, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. Okay? Because when Yahawashi comes, right, and the chariots, right, and also those ICBM missiles, okay, when they talk about it, matter of fact, with that flesh like dung, let's go to Zephaniah 14. I talked about it, but let's read it again. It says, and this shall be the plague wherewith Yahawah Bahasham will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Okay? So it's going to be a nasty, nasty death. Okay? And you see, it's their blood shall be poured out as dust, okay, vaporized, okay, not only by these ICBM missiles with these nuclear warheads, but also Yahawashi and the angels in their spaceships, okay, with the laser beam technology and the different things that they have, okay. Reading on, it says, neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of Yahawah Bahasham wrath. Well, we spent billions of dollars to try to make this golden dome. What is going on, right? It's not. Your money is gonna be worthless. Why? Because Yahawah Bahasham has already written it and has already spoken it, and his words are not going to return in vain, but they're going to do everything that it is accomplished and spoken of through the power and spirit of Yahawah Bahasham. So it says, neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of Yahawah Bahasham wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. All right? And remember, the scriptures say that in 1 hour, Babylon is going to be made desolate, right? There's going to be mass casualties, okay? Everyone who is on this landmass here in Babylon, America, right, will be completely destroyed, okay? Via the ICBM missiles or Yahawashi and the angels and their chariots or their spacecrafts, okay? So guess what? Your defense system is not going to help, okay? Your defense system is not going to help, right? When you even think about it, right? They've had videos where the chariots, right? They call it UFOs or whatever, but they'll have them where they'll flick on and off the nuclear weapons. They'll power them on, power them off, right? That's how you know it's not in their hands, okay? And guess what? During that day, you think that system's gonna work? Absolutely not. All right. So hey, Babylon, get a refund. All right. So, but with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad, a mighty shalom, to the 144,000 men, and to the rest of the elect. Stay diligent, stay focused, right? Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. All right. And Babylon, hey, go get a refund. All right. And with that, I'll say a ball. Shalom.